Florida, unless they got a commitment in the last 10 minutes, is residing with 2 verbal commitments right now. Florida State, even after the terrible 2-10 season, they've got 9, but how many of those kids are solid because several are taking visits? So right off the bat, what is your gut feel? Pick whichever one you want to go with, Gators or the Noles. Are they going to make a move? Because they both have some good players coming in, especially Florida. They got a bigger list. They both have good visit lists. But which one's going to make a move this weekend?
I think the onus is on Florida. This has been a funky cycle for them, right? In 2025, we saw the Gators build slowly. A lot of questions around, Billy Napier, number one hot seat guy, maybe in the country going into that 2025 season. And the Gators, proved a lot of people wrong on the field. And that created a positive wave of momentum for the class of 25, particularly at the end of the 25 cycle. And the Gators ended up, top 10, top 15 in the country. This year, it seems like a repeat, right? There's a lot of questions. A lot of people are curious, what is this thing going to look like in Gainesville? And I think a lot of recruits have been not as sold on the program to this point. Like you mentioned, just 2 verbal commitments. It's not panic button, death sentence, everyone freak out time just yet, because I think the summer will be fruitful for the Gators. And like you mentioned, this weekend in particular, a massive official visit weekend that just added Jaydin Broadnax, to the picture, the Louisville commitment from South Florida. That group, I think, will inevitably start to turn up a little bit more orange and blue. But just from a pure volume perspective, 2 verbal commitments is not enough. The fans are clamoring, and there's a lot of kids that maybe Florida has to look into a little bit more, as opposed to if the kid is ready to pop, and I say that to say it's a weird time with recruiting boards, right? Where we're seeing official visits, but simultaneously there's going to be camps going on in the month of June. So there could be some fluctuation. So some of those kids on the bubble, plus or minus for the Gators, you wonder, do they push a little bit more and maybe take sooner than they would have otherwise accomplished? I think of a Brian Williams, receiver from Lake Mary High School. I think of a Javeion Cooper, offensive lineman out of Melbourne, currently committed to Syracuse, going to Florida this weekend. I think Florida State the weekend after. Can they push and make some changes with prospects like that? DQ Fork was going to go up there. The Gators are in good shape for him out of IMG Academy. Just won linebacker MVP at the Rivals Camp Atlanta. So there are some pathways where Florida feels really good. CJ Hester's another one. I mean, there's a good group forming for the Gators. We mentioned Broadnax, the Louisville commitment that I think grew up a big Gator fan. So that one could be a big flip. So it could start to build as early as Friday or Saturday. But I'm expecting June to be pretty fruitful for the Gators if they elect to push for those type of prospects. Now, if you're waiting on the big guns, it's just going to take a little bit longer, and I think that's going to be the case, not just for Florida, but for everyone. I mean, most of these elite recruits, top 100 type recruits, what are they doing? 4 or 5 official visits. Every weekend is booked, and they're going to commit closer to the 4th of July than early June. So it's not a huge period of time that you got to wait in between to see if your OV, your momentum, and frankly, your NIL package has delivered. But you're going to have to fend off other programs in the process. And this goes the same for national champion Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Bama. I mean, anywhere, Texas, anywhere you look, that's the situation in terms of I got my official visit here versus the other 3 or 4 that I got to contend with. So that is sort of universal, but inevitably kids will fall in love. The numbers will sound good and decisions will be made, I believe, as early as this weekend. And if there's a program that needs the juice, that needs them, I think Florida nationally is probably number 1 on the list, just from a volume and perception perspective.
I agree. Is there a guy that you think they have to land? Doesn't have to be this weekend, but who is the must-get player for the Florida Gators in this cycle?
I think it's a guy who was previously committed. I think it's Isaiah Williams. They've got the quarterback on board. Look, Will Griffin is as solid a prospect in terms of his commitment as there is maybe nationally, right? Tampa Jesuit kid, right up or right down I-75, easy money there. He's doing his best to bring more talent to Gainesville. So you've got your, future face of the program in essence, maybe a guy going to battle beyond the DJ Lagway tenure in Gainesville. So that is box 1A1. That is checked for Billy Napier and company. I'll give him credit there. So I think going forward, perception, right? Can you battle with the big boys? Isaiah Williams, a lifelong Gator fan, elite recruit, maybe the freakiest linebacker recruit in this class of 26. I get some Jalen Walker vibes on the field with what Isaiah can do. Gator fan, Orlando area kid. I mean, those used to be layups for the Gators. But now for Williams, flips to Ole Miss, still taking visits. He'll be at Georgia this weekend. Florida State's going to get him on campus. And I hear Texas is starting to knock a little bit more. So again, you want to win a big boy battle and flip perception. Go beat out Sark. Go beat out Kirby for an elite, SEC prospect, and pull them off that Ole Miss commitment. That's not easy nowadays under Lane Kiffin. So for me, it's Williams at Florida, must get for that staff.